Alright guys, so this is something that I never thought I would actually be discussing on this channel. Now I do want to preface by saying this channel is not intended to be a political channel. Politics is not something that I really try to discuss too much here on this channel. Every now and then I may make a community post referencing some political news of some sort, but for the most part I don't try to talk about that too much here. This is primarily like a gaming channel, but considering the events that happened this past weekend, it's too big of a story to not talk about. That, of course, is the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. And I wanted to talk about it when it happened, but there was just so much going on, and everything was just, it was chaos. Honestly, it was chaos. We didn't have enough information. We didn't really know what was going on at the time. Yeah, I didn't want to come out and make a video talking about it when we didn't have all the information yet. And even now, we still don't have all the info. I mean, we're still talking about and having, speculations about what exactly happened that day. So I just didn't want to jump the gun or anything. Also, it's just, the whole thing was just shocking. It was just a lot to keep up with, man. It was just crazy. So now it's been a few days. The dust has kind of settled a little bit. And now I feel like, okay, I can actually talk about the situation, give my thoughts about it. So the first thing I want to start with is, where was I when this was going down? So me and my brother were literally chilling, eating chicken wings from Popeyes and watching cartoons, just chilling, right? As we're doing that, I'm getting Twitter notifications on my phone that's left and right. And I'm seeing tweets from people saying things like Trump survived, Trump is okay. Everyone just freaking out about Trump. I'm like, what is going on? What happened to Trump? What happened with Trump? He survived. What's going on here? I go to Twitter and I am just seeing all across my timeline, posts, videos, whatever, about Trump being shot at his rally in Pennsylvania. And I'm just sitting there like, my jaw is to the floor. I'm like, what the hell is happening? What the fuck? And then my brother's sitting right next to me. So I'm like, bro, look, someone just tried to assassinate Trump. Like, this is crazy. So then shortly after the fact, I called my mom and I was like, yo, ma, like, did you hear the news? Like, someone just tried to assassinate Trump. And she was like, what? I didn't hear nothing about that. So yeah, we flipped on the news. We saw all, pretty much every news station was covering the situation. And it just caused an absolute storm on Twitter. People asking where the shooter was. How did he get in? Did they take him out? All these things, right? It was just unbelievable. It was so surreal. It's like this, I never would have imagined that I would ever witness something like that in my lifetime, that I would ever see an assassination attempt on a former U.S. president and a currently running presidential candidate. I just never thought I would ever see that. And the biggest takeaway for me is how the first thing that Trump does after being shot, right, after being grazed in the ear, inches away from death, right, the first thing he does is stand up, raise his fists, and shout, fight, fight, fight. And I'm sure many of you guys have already seen the image, but that image of Trump with his fists in the air, covered in blood, with the American flag behind him, that is one of the greatest things I've ever witnessed. That image is historic. You are going to see that picture of Trump in every U.S. history book 20 years from now, 20, 30 years from now. That is going to be solidified in history forever. You couldn't find a better image that represents America more than that. He literally could have been killed. Like, that's no exaggeration. I mean, he literally was an inch away from losing his life. And the first thing he does is not to immediately evacuate. He literally stands up and tells the Secret Service, hey, just wait. I'm going to raise my fist and I'm going to speak to the people. I mean, that is just so admirable. I don't care how you feel about the guy. If you dislike him, that's fine. But you cannot tell me that moment was not empowering. It absolutely was. Now I want to talk about the response from a lot of people, especially when it happened, right? Because I saw people saying how, oh, it was staged, it's not real. They just put blood on his ear. He wasn't actually shot with a real gun. I'm like, are you serious? He is leading in damn near every single poll. He's got more support than he's ever had in his political career. The majority of Americans think Biden needs to step down and that he's not fit for office. The majority of the American people thought that Trump performed better during the presidential debate against Biden. And he has been just steadily gaining momentum, and his polling has only gone up and up and up since the raid of Mar-a-Lago two years ago. Trump literally has all the momentum. Why in the hell would he need to stage a fake assassination attempt? I mean, the Biden administration is at its probably its lowest point. Like, again, talks to have him step down and replace him with Kamala Harris. The mainstream media finally going after him and criticizing him. Even before the assassination attempt, all the data shows that if the election were held right now, Trump would win in a landslide. So it literally makes no sense for Trump to be like, okay, I'm desperate to win, so we're gonna stage a fake assassination attempt against me to guarantee me winning the election. Like, it just doesn't make sense, man. No president in history has ever done something like that. But it's just crazy to me that people witness that, and the first thing they think of, oh, it must have been staged. It wasn't real. It's not real. Like, these people, like, you really are just not living in reality. And the people who say that are literally the same people who claim that people on the right are the conspiracy theorists. Like, somebody literally died that day, right? And another person was injured. And people still want to say that, oh, it's staged. It's still not real. They're just sacrificing one of their own. It's like, bro, how demented do you have to be? And speaking of demented, right? The people who are having a meltdown, not because, the former president was shot, not because somebody had lost their life, an innocent man lost their life that day. No. That's not why some of these people were upset. Some people were upset because the shooter missed.
I just found out about this shit. It just happened. I haven't even had a second to process. You're telling me somebody finally had the balls to bring a pew-pew, and he missed! We were a second away! We were a centimeter away from half of the problem being gone, and you missed! There was a white man attached to that trigger. I know it! We were a centimeter away! Ah!
Absolutely unhinged. It is unbelievable that we live in a country where people are genuinely upset because a former president was not assassinated. People are genuinely upset because a running presidential candidate whom they disagree with politically was not assassinated. And people are endorsing this act of political violence by saying that, oh, it should have been a better shooter. The shooter shouldn't have missed. He had one job. He dropped the W. Just saying all kinds of crazy stuff. It's like, what world are we living in now? Like, are you serious right now? If Trump had not turned his head right at the moment when the gunshot went off, he would be dead. Literally. Which means we would be living in a completely different country right now. We could possibly be living in complete anarchy. It would be another civil war. Straight up. Our country would actually be torn apart if that bullet had hit him, right? And you got these ghouls who are genuinely disappointed that Trump isn't dead. It's like, why do you think like that? Why do you think that's something that should be condoned in any way in this country? Like, do you realize what it is that you're advocating for? This isn't a third world country, man. This isn't Russia. This isn't China. Like, this is supposed to be this is a democracy, like these people claim. Well, it's really a constitutional republic, but these people claim that they care about democracy, right? They say Trump is an existential threat to democracy, which isn't true, but that's what these people believe. Yet these people would be celebrating the notion of Trump being assassinated. Like, the assassination of a running presidential candidate is probably the most undemocratic thing that could ever happen. But these people support it. Again, you can have your opinions about Trump. If you don't like him, cool, that's fine. I'm not saying you have to like him or you have to endorse all the things that he says or does, right? You don't have to agree with all of his policies, but you don't kill the guy. That is why we vote, right? That's the whole point. Like, I am not a Biden supporter by any means, right? I don't like Biden. I despise Biden. I think he's been a horrible president, but I've never once entertained the idea that someone needs to take Biden out, right? Or that somebody needs to kill him. He doesn't belong in office, so therefore he needs to be killed. Like, no, I think Biden needs to step down. He needs to be voted out, and he needs to go live out the rest of his days in a nursing home, right? I would never wish for some crazed lunatic who hates Biden so much that they'd be willing to go to some kind of rally or something, one of his events, and try to assassinate him because they despise his policies or disagree with him politically. That is not the country that we live in, man. But that's what these people, this is the idea that these people endorse. This is the country that they want to live in. They want to live in a complete chaos. In politics, this pendulum always swings the other way. If you start killing your political rivals, do you think the same thing is not going to happen to your side? Imagine if the roles were reversed. So imagine some crazy anti-Biden lunatic tried to assassinate Biden for whatever reason. And imagine if people on the right were celebrating it. Imagine if people on the right were saying, oh, well, this isn't real. It's staged, clearly. These same people who are celebrating Trump's attempted assassination, they would be having a fit. They'd be angry. They'd be furious to see people on the right. They'd call them, oh, they're extremists. They're celebrating the attempted assassination of the U.S. president. These guys are extremists. They're domestic terrorists. They're a bunch of conspiracy theorists calling it state. That's exactly what they'd be saying. So if it's bad when the right does it, it's also bad when the left does it, okay? People like Destiny, right? Just an awful, awful human being. Spent the entire day, not even 24 hours after it happened, right? Literally doing nothing but spending his time mocking conservatives, mocking Trump, literally mocking the death of Corey Comparator, who was, again, the man that was killed that day, literally doing nothing but mocking his death. An innocent man who was just there attending a Trump rally, who literally died protecting his daughter, protecting his family, and then the guy is literally mocking his death, right? Before the body was even cold, bro.
Fuck it, fuck the dude, the firefighter guy, fuck Trump, fuck the people that support him. I just want you to know, okay, just in case you're confused or it seems like I'm, you don't, whatever. If one of you were in the crowd and you're a conservative fan of mine and you end up, getting blown away or whatever the fuck, I'm making fun of you the next day on Twitter. I am 100.
People like Hassan saying Trump is clip farming as he's getting shot, almost getting shot in the fucking head. He's clip farming, bro.
As well as you saw
He's clip farming harder than the new crop of FaZe talent. He's like FaZe Ronaldo. He's clip farming harder than Jinxie. He keeps throwing up his fucking fist.
Been at many of these Trump rallies, and
It's
here's a new picture from
over.
one of our colleagues there on the ground, the photojournalists who are in the front row showing the blood on.
Like, these people are actually fucking demons, man. They're fucking lunatics. And of course, these aren't the only people who are saying things like this. I mean, these are just some of the more prominent voices, in these circles, right? There are so many other people, tens of thousands, millions of other people who feel the same way that these clowns do. Hell, even the mainstream media and their coverage of this story when it initially happened, right? Like, this is a real headline on a CNN article. Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after he falls at rally. Just completely downplay the event entirely. Like, yeah, he just fell. It was nothing crazy. He just fell, and they just had to rush him off the stage. He just slipped. He had a Biden moment. He had to be rushed off the stage because he fell. Or he was just injured, leaving out crucial details, okay? Like, I don't know, the fact that there was an assassination attempt, like I said, just completely downplaying the story entirely. And I think that's just absolutely scary to see. Like, that, just this whole event has really just shed light on a lot of people's true colors. Like, their true natures are coming through with this attempted assassination of Trump. A lot of people are coming out and showing themselves to be who they really are. It really is a sad state of affairs, man. It really is. Now, putting aside all that, there's still obviously a lot of unanswered questions. Like, I still have questions. Like, why did they not spot this guy? Like, why did they take so long to respond to this shooter when there are countless videos now circulating of people literally shouting, saying, "Hey, the shooter is on the roof. He's on the roof. He's right there. We see him." They knew he was there on the roof. There's not a lot of rooftops. There's not a lot of buildings there. So they knew the counter sniper team, they literally saw the guy. There's like a 2 to 3 minute window between the time that the Secret Service agents saw him and the time that the first bullet was fired. Yet for some reason they just didn't take him out. Like, what the hell was that? Like, why did they take so long to respond to this situation? Like, it just seems like, I mean, the amount of incompetence and negligence from the Secret Service that day it's unreal. These people are supposed to be the cream of the crop, the top elite, the best of the best, and the way they responded to that situation was piss poor. It's unacceptable, man. I'm not saying that it was an inside job. I'm not, but I'm not going to say that it's not possible or that it's off the table. There's no reason for me to rule that out just based on what had transpired. I would need for more information and evidence to come out for me to come to the conclusion that it was an inside job. I can't say that for certain now, but I'm just saying, just based on what we saw, it's like, it just doesn't make any sense why they were just so incompetent at their one and only job, right? Which is to protect the president no matter what. Even when they were surrounding him, it's like they did a terrible job of doing that. Like, you had a female agent there who is shorter than Trump. It's like, why is she there? Like, his head is still exposed. Like, why is she there? I don't know, man. There's just a lot of questions in regard to the Secret Service as to why this was even allowed to happen in the first place. Because, I mean, that's just something that should not happen. How did they let the shooter get in? How did they just allow him to just get, like, literally just pretty much allowed him to crawl on top of the building? People are literally screaming at him, saying, "Hey, he's on the roof," and it just ignored everyone's warnings, man. It really just doesn't add up at all. But anyway, just to wrap up my thoughts here, because this is just, me just my honest thoughts and opinions about this whole thing. No script or anything like that. This is just completely off the dome, right? Now, thank God, right, that the former president is alive and well, okay? Because like I said, had he been hit, had that bullet been fatal, we'd be living in a completely different country right now. But even with that said, right, I think within the next few months, we are going to see a shift in this country, right? Because number one, Trump is pretty much guaranteed to win now. I mean, I don't think that's hyperbolic to say at all. I think anybody can see that, yeah, after that, Trump is pretty much guaranteed to win in the landslide. But I think it's going to light a fire under so many people on both sides of the aisle. People are going to be more fired up than ever. And what that could potentially lead to. I don't know. I mean, who's to say that this won't happen again, right? I mean, who's to say that, people on the right, conservatives, don't try to retaliate in some way, shape, or form? Like, I feel as though it didn't happen right away, but over the course of the next few months, in the long run, we will see some anarchy in this country. And I think that's just the natural outcome of the situation, because for years now, the media has done nothing but demonize Trump and his supporters, right? I mean, first they tried to cancel him or him with Me Too allegations. They attacked him for years during his presidency, saying all types of crazy things like he was colluding with Russia and whatnot. Then they impeached the guy. None of that stuff was working, so what did they do next? Well, they tried to throw him in jail. Starting with the raid of Mar-a-Lago back in 2022. In 2023, he gets indicted and arrested for several charges. In 2024, he's found guilty on 34 felony counts. And despite all of these things, right, he's still surging in the polls. He's only continued to gain more and more support. None of that shit is working. So then that, of course, leads to the final step, is to try to assassinate him, to try to kill him. When you have the media doing nothing but demonizing Trump and Trump supporters, saying that Trump is Hitler, literally this is what they do. They compare him to Hitler. He's a dictator. He's an existential threat to democracy. He's going to take all your rights away. He's a fascist. His supporters are domestic terrorists. When you're using that kind of rhetoric, right, when you're saying things like that, how do you think people are going to respond to hearing things like that, right? Inevitably, someone is going to be radicalized by the things they hear from the media, and it's going to get into some crazed lunatic's head, and then they're going to try to take matters into their own hands, and they'll believe that they'll be some kind of hero. They're going to be taking down the bad guy. They're going to be taking down the evil Trump. How can they not see that they are indirectly responsible for this happening? Because had, this happened, let's say, to Biden, they would be saying, oh, well, this is because of Trump's rhetoric. This is because of the fear-monger from the right. This is because of all the dangerous things that Trump says. He's radicalizing people. He's inspiring people to commit acts of political violence. That's exactly what they'd be saying if it was the other way around. So I think it's completely fair to say that, hey, the media should also watch the things that they say. They could be held responsible for their fear-mongering and their exaggeration and their hyperbolic statements about Trump. That goes for the Democrats as well, too. I could argue that the things that the Democrats say could also be taken as inciting violence, especially considering that the vast majority of the political violence I've been seeing in this country in the past 4 years now, a lot of it has come from left-wing groups, and it has come from the Democrats. It has come from the left. The BLM/Antifa riots, the Roe v. Wade riots, the pro-Palestinian riots, etc., etc. So with all that being said, man, like I said, we are living in history right now. Like, this will be, like, the moment that we're living in right now will be talked about for decades, if not centuries to come. I think what happened with Trump was an actual miracle. Like, I think it was an actual case of divine intervention. I genuinely think God and his angels have their arms around Trump and they're protecting him. I genuinely believe that, because there is a sinister plot against Trump in order to stop him from becoming the president again. That's what's happening. It just is. What's been happening to Trump these past couple of years, we've never seen happen to any presidential candidate ever. I mean, it's unprecedented. It's unreal. And now seeing that plot almost come to fruition with the assassination, the attempted assassination of Trump, he has my full-on support now. I mean, I was already supporting him. I was already going to vote for him before this incident. But after witnessing this, like, I'm more motivated than ever to vote for him. Because now literally the only way to stop Trump from becoming president is to literally kill him. They literally have to kill him in order to stop him from being president. And if they feel the need that they have to kill you in order to stop you from winning, that says a lot. To me, that says, yeah, this person clearly is the right person for the job. If they literally have to try to take you out and actually kill you to stop you from being president, then you're clearly the right person for the job. So that's pretty much all the input that I want to give on this situation. I'm not trying to convert anybody. I'm not trying to change anybody's opinions about Trump. I'm not trying to say, oh, you need to be on our side. You need to support Trump. Like, no, you don't have to. That's not what I want people to take away from this. Like I said, this is just my honest thoughts on the situation. Okay. But I know these kinds of topics are just going to be divisive no matter what. Everyone's going to have their own views and perspectives on this. Obviously, that should be expected when talking about somebody who's as polarizing as Trump. But that's okay. I mean, we all disagree. We don't have to all agree on the same things. There's nothing wrong with having, debates and arguments about it, as long as it's healthy and respectful. So if you guys have your own thoughts and opinions about this, I encourage you all to share in the comments below. So thank you all for listening to me ramble about this whole thing. I'll catch you guys in the next video, and peace out. And also just be safe out there, man. We are living in crazy times. I mean, you just don't know what could happen at this point. So really just keep yourself safe, and then the people around you who are close to you, keep them safe as well. Especially in the times that we're living in right now, not a single person on earth is promised a tomorrow. So just keep that in mind always, okay? So again, be safe out there, take care, and I'll catch you guys later.